welcome to Remove Before Launch, and you're joining us in this sunny industrial estate. Yes, we have found this lovely location. Trying to find somewhere quiet basically, but also I thought today I was going to try and shoot my track car, and the track car, as it's been stripped and is a little bit more raw, I thought a little bit more industrial, so I'd give it an industrial theme. So this is a 1994 E36 M3 with the 3 litre, so this isn't the Evo, this is the 3.0 engine, not the 3.2. There's various arguments about which engine's better, which one's a little bit more reliable, which one's a bit more motorsport derived, and I can't be bothered to argue about that because no one's ever going to agree on what's a better engine. But at the end of the day, this has slightly less power. This has about as good for about 285 brake. The Evo version was good for about 320. But this is no longer standard. This is road legal, but I've taken it about as far as I can to being a track car whilst keeping it road legal, because I haven't got a trailer basically and haven't got the space to tow cars and everything else. So there's been a lot of work done on it. It looks pretty standard. We do have go faster stripes, which you'll see in the video, which does add about another 10 brake horsepower, I've been told. And it's had a lot of work done it. We have red wheels, that's another 5 brake per wheel, so it slowly adds up, as you can see. So I just want to give you a run through. I'll talk you through how I'm driving it and hopefully get a little bit of track footage as well for you. And here we are in the cockpit where all the work's done. As you can see, Sparco seats, steering wheel, nothing in the rear anymore. Still got the dash, kept that going. So let me give you a run through. I have written a list because I couldn't actually remember everything I've got on this car. So give you an idea of what's been done to it. So for anyone out there who's interested in just generally knowing what's going on, or actually interested in making some tweaks and changes to their own track car or E36. So this has a new Dave F induction kit, Group N oil restrictor, full Miltech stainless steel exhaust. It's basically got the same gearbox, so it is the 5-speed, because this isn't the Evo, which had the 6, which is a bit of a shame, because you do sometimes find on the odd track, certain tracks, you could do with that extra ratio, I think. So that's probably something I'd like to change, but ain't gonna happen, not anytime soon. But it has a different breather on it, which was better than the original, and it also has a UUC short shift kit, which does make a little bit of a difference. Took a little bit of getting used to actually, but actually works well. And then we have a single mass flywheel from Driftworks, so that makes a big difference. What I've noticed is not so comfy on your general road driving, because obviously you've got all that inertia and everything else that tries to smooth things out, you know, when you're changing gear, accelerating, decelerating, etc, etc. So what I've found is you're very much on and off. So in road driving, especially in traffic, people think you've got a kangaroo in your car, or basically can't control your car. But on track makes a lot more sense, because what you suddenly find is that the pickup and everything else, it's just a lot more responsive out the corners, etc. So it's brilliant from that point of view. But it's the usual, you kind of got to be on it to feel the real advantage. Non-road driving, not so much. It's also got a PS9 coilovers on it, so fully adjustable built-in suspension. It's got a anti-roll bar, adjustable front anti-roll bar, 28mm, and fully polybush throughout. And then also on the brakes, it's got StopTech brakes up front, braided hoses, and I'm running our RS29 pads, which are proving really good. You do pay a bit more for them, but I've got to say they squeak in traffic. People look at you, think there's something wrong with your car. But on track, really, I found them so good. And then on the back, standard discs with just some yellow stuff pads on the back. But again, most of it's done up front. And then as you can see, so we've got Sparco seats, Evo Plus seats, harnesses, steering wheel, and a shiny aluminium gear knob, which makes all the difference. And one thing that I can't show you now because the camera's hooked up is obviously I have kept the retro style 90s CD player and radio. Yes, and a couple of speakers. Trust me, when you're doing a long journey in this, trying to get to track, it's needed. Or headphones, or earmuffs, probably, earplugs, whatever. Anyway, so I'm going to give a run through. Hopefully the sound recording is going to be all right. I'm going to try not to shout too much, because if I shout, it's then distorted. If I don't shout, it's not loud enough. So who knows what's going to happen. But let's get this bad boy started. Like the sound is your typical BMW straight six, which I love, and then with the Miltech exhaust on it, really nice. The thing is, because so much has been stripped out and the diff's been changed and had some work done on it and everything else, you have got, and it's pretty noisy. It's not exactly, refined is probably the word. But let's get it a little bit going. Let's get going, sorry, and you will find squeaky brakes, you will find rattles from the back, and generally things sound like they're going to fall off, but they're not, hopefully not. Yeah, it's just the usual. You've got your typical front engine rear wheel drive setup. It's a light car as well. I mean, it's about 1,200 kilos, so it's a reasonable sort of, it's had quite a lot of work, quite a lot of weight stripped out of it, and it's been on the scales around about 1,200. Obviously then you got me in it, and passengers and everything else, so that adds. But when you haven't got anyone else in it, and it is just you around the track, it's pretty lively, and it does pull well, it performs well, it's just, it's good, it's quick, it's plenty quick enough. And I know everybody will always argue, well, surely you want more power and you want to be faster. And yeah, as you learn the car, definitely, but at the moment, I'm still very much in learning mode. And that's, as I mentioned and touched on, that's what I love about this car, is it does give you that sort of feedback. It does communicate really well. Now, okay, here it's slightly different, the steering's not really up to scratch anymore for road use, because it has been now prepped for the track. It does tramline a bit. It feels a bit like there's a little bit of play in the straight ahead, and it doesn't feel quite right. But that's not from it being a bad car originally. It's from, we've kind of turned it into a bad car for the road. But again, you get it on track, it all starts to make sense. And that's the whole thing about this car. And this is the thing, the car's been tweaked and changed, and the suspension set up and the camber and everything else, to basically ruin it on the road. But suddenly on the track, everything comes together. The brakes, the suspension, the turning that was lacking, and the feedback that was lacking on the road, on the track. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And the car, if you get it right, the balance, the way it glides, absolutely superb. Now obviously you've still got to be able to drive it, and that's sometimes borderline with me. But yeah, everything comes together. The brakes, the light and flywheel that makes it uncomfortable to drive in traffic, suddenly pops you out of the bends. Lovely, really nice. The gear changes, shorter linkage, much quicker. Again, getting into those gears that much quicker, shaving that fraction of a second off, but just a little bit more of a positive gear change. The suspension setup, everything, you can obviously adjust it and dial it into the right track, and obviously being the expert that I am, I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. But anyway, when you do finally get the balance right, it all makes sense. The whole car comes together and it just drives brilliantly. And yeah, it's not the fastest car anymore. There's a lot of quick stuff out here on the track today. You've got GT3s, you've got big V8s, you've got all sorts of weird and wonderful track cars and race cars, basically. BMWs, the only thing I haven't seen is an AMG today. But you've got just about everything, and there's some serious power. And on certain circuits, this car's not going to keep up. It's about 285 brake now. It's lighter than a lot of the newer stuff, but you haven't got that straight line performance. Having said that, the car communicates. It really is so well set up, so well balanced. I've had other people drive this. I've even had instructors commenting on just how well set up it is. So yeah, and the brakes, the stop set brakes, the upgraded pads, brakes, fluid, everything else suddenly makes sense as well, because trust me, and when you do a few hot laps, those brakes cook up very, very quick, and you've just got to be hopeful they hold tight, and they do. And that's the thing, you don't really get much in the way of sponginess, you don't really get them cooking up too much, and that's very, very nice indeed. And that's, at the end of the day, cars can be as quick as you like, but if they don't stop, you're never going to get a fast lap time in. And you do see some very quick cars run into a lot of trouble because they're running standard road discs and pads, and it's not pleasant to see. So you're either limiting the amount of track time you're doing, or lap time, or if you're really unfortunate, you get into a bit of trouble and it never ends well. But yeah, absolutely love it. This is the car in its element. The engine's brilliant. You know, that straight 6.3 litre, it revs up to 7,000. I try and be a little bit sympathetic because the age of it, I mean, at the end of the day, this is a 25-year-old car now, but it still goes well, it still pulls well, it sounds nice, you know, it's just a proper kind of motorsport derived car and engine. And this is what I love about M cars. You know, there might be some faults, you might have some issues with some of the later stuff, they've got a bit heavier, they got this, they got that, but they still just, you know, BMW do know how to put together a very nice, communicative car. And okay, yes, I know this had work on it, but even so, it's still so much fun. Okay, so it might not be the latest in car technology or performance cars, but that, in some respects, is what's nice about it. It's the fact that it's not, it's a little bit old school, and because of that, there's less electronic gadgetry. And yeah, there's stuff out there now, new stuff that is literally, you can't even see which way they've gone. And even now, hot hatches that are pumping out similar brake horsepower with four-wheel drive and this, that and the other, and you know, it's a struggle. But what's great about this car is you do really get to learn how to drive the car, and you're really hands-on with the car, and that's what's good about it. That's what I really enjoy about it. So, you know, on part of my track day driving journey and learning, you know, developing my skill set and everything else, this car's the perfect tool, and I like the look of it now. You know, it was always one of those sort of people always weren't as keen on this one. Actually, as it's got older, I actually think it's a nice looking car, and the fact that it is that bit older, a little bit rawer, it's more cost effective to run. Repairs and spares and everything else are a little bit more affordable. Probably the only downside is that it is getting so old now. This is about 24, 25 years old, that if anything major goes on it, it's going to be a little bit trickier, like your engine. But apart from that, yeah, I think it's an absolute winner. It's such a good car, such good fun. Every time I think about selling it or moving on to something else, I then drive it on track and don't want to get rid of it. So yeah, I've you know, really do think highly of this car. Amazing what BMW can do, considering how old this is and what they're still doing now. You know, they really do know how to build some interesting performance cars and some track focus cars, and I know this has been changed and developed more for track focus, but even so, it goes to show that just how good that base platform is. So yeah, let me know your thoughts, let me know about what track cars you've got. Always interested to talk track cars and hear from people that have probably better than I am at driving. But anyway, yeah, this has been removed for launch. Thanks for watching, and give us a subscribe, really appreciate it. Thanks.